Welcome back to Let's Play Sonic the Hedgehog, and welcome to everyone's favorite, least favorite level, Labyrinth Zone, featuring David Bowie and a bunch of Muppets. No, not even a sarcastic ha. So why does everyone hate Labyrinth Zone? It's what we're standing in right now, it's the water.
Now what?
There are 3 things that Mario can do underwater which Sonic cannot. Swim, breathe, and shoot fire. Sonic can't swim underwater, so he just slows down tremendously in both his running speed and his jumping. Sonic can't breathe underwater, so if you stay in there too long you start drowning. There is no visible air meter, so you don't know how long you have left before you start drowning until the drowning theme starts playing. But you can refill air by either grabbing one of these air bubbles you see once in a while or just exiting the water entirely. And Sonic can't shoot fire underwater because he can't shoot fire permanently. But in all honesty, I highly prefer Labyrinth Zone over Marble Zone. Marble Zone just forces you to stop and wait everywhere. Labyrinth Zone at least gives you the option to stop, slow down, or just keep going. Keep going is usually not a good idea because you can run out of air, you can run into stuff. So that's pretty much the Daredevil approach, and I'm simply not skilled enough to do so. Stopping occasionally when I'm waiting for a bubble to pop out of the ground so I won't run out of air. But the best idea to do is just not rush things, to just be careful and slow down when you need to. Taking the time to see what's ahead of you before you run face first into it. That's the way to get through Labyrinth Zone. But this is still a game that marketed itself on high speed action, so I don't know, guess they didn't just want this game to be too short. Also switches. Labyrinth Zone loves switches everywhere to open doors before you can move on. Now even though I prefer Labyrinth Zone over Marble Zone, that doesn't mean Labyrinth Zone is easier than Marble Zone. Labyrinth Zone is very likely to murder you. Deaths will be had. And my cats are fighting. I'll be back in a second. Now where was I? Oh yes, I made a remark back in Marble Zone that I really hate how my least favorite zone is the second one in the game. Well, guess what the original second zone of the game was supposed to be? It was Labyrinth Zone! They had to change it because it was just way too hard to have as the second zone, which is too bad because it kinda ruins this game's subtle environmental message. My lamp just exploded. What is it with all the interruptions today? I smell fire. I'll be right back again. Well, that was weird. There's nothing I can do really. It doesn't turn on, but everything's okay, I guess. Luckily, I won't have to worry about my house catching on fire because we're in the water level. Back to what I was saying. Environmental message. Oh yeah, the original level order had you progress from the more natural areas for the more man-made areas. The zone after this one is pretty much a city level, and you may recall in the last part I mentioned how there's a city level in between Spring Yard Zone and Marble Zone. The original level order was Green Hill Zone, Labyrinth Zone, Marble Zone, the city level I mentioned, Spring Yard Zone, and then the final zone. And like I said, the levels get more man-made as you progress. The environmental message is still there, seeing how we're saving animals from a man who pretty much runs an industry, as we'll be seeing later on. But the game still kind of loses that, even though, albeit subtle, the original level order was still a big part of that. Also, as far as I know, there are 2 places where the original level order can still be seen. One is a very obvious one. When you use the level select code, the levels are still listed in their original level order. And the other one is one I kind of figured out myself. I'm sure there are other people who've noticed it, but I never heard anyone bring it up, so I'm just gonna assume I discovered it. Oh, this is where I show off the glitch jump, by the way, where Sonic goes into his running animation instead of his rolling animation, so I can't break the monitor unless I jump away from it. Now, about the other place where you can still see the original level order. It's the order in which you get the emeralds. For example, the second emerald you get is yellow. The second level in the original level order was Labyrinth Zone, a zone dominated by mostly the color yellow. The zone after this, which was supposed to be the 4th zone, is mostly green. Just like the 4th emerald, which was the green emerald. Though you would think Green Hill Zone would get the green emerald, but I'd say the blue sky in Green Hill Zone is more dominant than the actual color green. Just like the first emerald being the blue one. The third emerald is purple, like Marble Zone, and the final emerald is grey/white, just like the final zone we'll be getting to in 2 parts. The one that really doesn't connect all too well is the red one with Spring Yard Zone. Spring Yard Zone was purple and brown, brown-orange, so I guess you could count that as red. They just wanted a red emerald. And that is my favorite bit of trivia about this game. Why? Because I found it myself. But that doesn't mean I still have a whole lot of other trivia. It's almost Christmas, don't you know? Consider my small list of useless knowledge as my gift to you. This first one is an ode to the goggle sprite within the game's code. Sonic would wear these on his head to eliminate water as a threat. These were rumored for Sonic to wear as a power-up to give him air. These rumored were answered with a simple no, and these goggles would only show when Sonic was underwater, like Kirby, you know? By the way, this water slide here just loops and loops more until you press this switch to open the door. The drowning countdown goes from 5 to 1, but little did you know that this is wrong. Because 1 second in the countdown is actually 2, so the real time you have is 10, and that is true. More trivia is that Sonic can swim because of a certain programmer, you all know him. He thought that hedgehogs couldn't swim in real life, however this is wrong, he was told by his wife. That's enough rhyming for now, I hope you enjoyed, but now I'll go back to talking like a droid. But this doesn't mean I'm done with the trivia. You know how you get invincibility frames when you get hit? Not on the spikes. So let's just say you have 20 rings and a shield and you fall into like a row of spikes. Then you would lose your shield and you would fall immediately onto the next spike. Then you would lose your rings and fall immediately on the next spike, and then you would just die instantly. Something commonly referred to as the spike glitch, though it's gone after this game. Now, ironically, I'm also at the moment uploading a Mega Man 1 Let's Play where the exact same glitch appears, and it's also got in the sequel, so what a quinky dink. Oh, and here's something funny to think about. This is Burrowbot, little drill enemies in this zone that hide underground. But if it wasn't for these guys, Sonic would have drowned. I really have to stop rhyming. But why do I say that? Well, that's because the air bubbles Sonic kinda has to rely on in some parts underwater escape through small cracks in the ground. And it shouldn't be that hard to lay a connection between bubbles that escape through holes in the ground and enemies that make holes in the ground. So if Eggman didn't make those, or at least didn't put them in this particular zone, Sonic probably wouldn't be able to beat him. And he would have won in the first game. The irony. Love that drowning theme. The way it builds up, so tense, makes you feel like, oh god, oh man, oh god, oh no, oh god, oh man, oh god, oh fuck! At least that's my natural reaction to hearing the drowning theme. By the way, getting a shield or invincibility does not protect you from drowning. By the way, there are blocks in this zone. We've seen them before, but I didn't point them out. We might still see them later, but they're pretty much square yellow blocks, but they have holes in them. I think they're supposed to be either G's or sponges. Or neither one, of course. But regardless of what they are, they float up and sink down with the surface of the water, so they can either help you get up or crush you. Oh wait, we actually will see them later, because there's a little puzzle with them where you actually need them to get up. But if you miss them, the game doesn't tell you this, but if you go back a few steps, the water will lower itself again, so you can get up on those blocks and try again. I didn't know this. I thought I was either completely fucked or I would just have to wait for the water to lower itself on its own. Then I started drowning, then I walked back and forward a little, then I noticed the water started to lower itself, and as soon as it lowered itself for me to breathe, I drowned. Also more switch puzzles to reverse these rocks that go... What the fuck are these... What? Why is there a conveyor belt moving rocks in a circle, going nowhere? You know, it can be really hard not to question video game logic once in a while. Also, I like how most animals you free from robots are part of the... Oh, this is the... these are the cheese blocks and this is the water that has to lower itself. Look, I walk back, the water lowers itself, I go back this way and it goes up again. Just make sure you're on the one on the very right, otherwise you will be crushed. Or you can jump down before you get crushed, but that takes time. But as I was saying, I like how we only free penguins in Labyrinth Zone because Water Zone. I still don't get how we free baby seals in the middle of Lava Marble Zone, whatever it was, but sure. I guess lava is a liquid you can swim in if you don't die. But now it's boss time! Or not, because he just flies away. Yeah, you don't have to raise him, you don't have to hit him. You can hit him, though I've never actually seen what happens when you hit him 8 times. But the only thing you really have to do is survive this really small vertical climb. Preferably before the water catches up to you, because I don't think you get any air bubbles in this place. We can also see how the game actually does follow Mario logic with underwater fire. But it's different. It's a pretty challenging quote-unquote boss. And it's the reason why I will never do a no-hit run of this game. I barely got through it just now with 0 rings. We hit him one more time and that's the end of the zone. So see you next time with part 5 when we go through the Starlight Zone.